Let me start with a confession. I did not grow up dreaming of becoming one of those people who carry books everywhere and quote authors like they were personal friends. I wasn't that child. I wasn't even that adult. In fact, for a very long time, I thought people who loved reading books were either pretending or compensating for something. I believed books were overrated, slightly elitist, and mostly designed to make other people feel bad about how they will read. Oh my god. I'm falling short of breath. Sorry, guys. But you got the message, right? So I was not that person. And yet, here I am, sitting in front of a camera, talking about how reading books changed my life. Yes, today's topic is how books changed my life. Life is a funny that way. It enjoys irony more than karma. I want to tell you this story not as a sermon, not as productivity lecture, and definitely not as a wake up at 5 a.m. and read 50 pages motivational scam. I want to tell you as someone who resisted books, judged books, avoided books, and then very inconveniently was changed by them. Yes, this story is about how books changed me. I, Abhilasha Sharma, was changed by books, and I confess that. And this is something I want, and this is the reason I'm so mad about books, guys. I'm so mad about them. I'm madly in love with them. And I'm really proud. I'm really proud of that fact. Before books entered my life properly, my world was loud but shallow. I knew things, but I didn't understand them. I had opinions, but they were borrowed. I reacted quickly, emotionally, impulsively. I thought clarity came from confidence, and confidence came from volume. If you spoke loudly enough, surely you were right. That's that's what I do. I am always very loud, but that was something a kind of a preconceived notion in my head that if you are somebody who is speaking very, very loudly, surely you are right. I was busy all the time, mentally occupied, emotionally tired, constantly consuming news, reels, conversations, outrage, but rarely digesting anything. And that's what is happening with all of us. We are not digesting anything. I mistook stimulation for growth. Like many people, I thought being updated means being informed. It did not occur to me that my mind was crowded but undernourished. Yes, guys, if you are not reading books, probably our minds are undernourished. My entry into reading was not cinematic, no rain, no epiphany, no montage. It was boredom, pure, unglamorous boredom. I picked up a book not because I wanted wisdom, but because my phone battery was dead, and that day was felt longer than my patience. That's the truth people don't tell you. Most life changing habits begin as accidents, and something strange happened. The world slowed down, not dramatically, just enough. My breathing changed. My thoughts stopped racing, each further for attention. For the first time in a long time, my mind was doing one thing, and that was reading. Yes, guys, reading. And it was so, so, so good. That feeling that you are reading something and you're imagining in your head the characters are there, they are in love, they are fighting, something is going on, and it is so, so peaceful. And you are waking up with characters, you're sleeping with those characters. It is just an amazing feeling, and that is what I want for you guys as well, that this is something I felt and you should also experience the same thing. So that wasn't I realizing something deeply uncomfortable. I wasn't bad at reading, I was bad at stillness. Yes, that is something is going to happen when you will initially start reading. You will feel that you know what, something is not right here. I want to just go for a coffee, or let me grab a coffee, or let me grab something, let me read something, or let me just scroll for a while, because initially you are not very familiar with it. And our mind is something like that. If you are familiar with it, they are ready to, our minds are ready with it. but if you're not going in an unfamiliar or uncharted territory, it becomes very uncomfortable for you. So that is going to be your first experience, but after that, it is so peaceful. It is Meditation, guys. It is meditation, and meditation is addictive. Books are addictive. Once you will start that, once you will under it, you will feel it that you are under some sort of a magic. And that's what I want to say. You see, we blame books for being boring, but the truth is we have trained our brains to expect fireworks every 6 seconds. We don't want stories anymore. We want summaries. We don't want depth. We want conclusion. We don't want characters. We want hot takes. Books demand patience, and patience these days feel like a personal attack. The first real change books brought into my life was not intelligence, it was pause. Books taught me to sit with a thought without immediately reacting to it, to let discomfort exist without rushing to numb it, to realize that complexity is not confusion, it is honesty. And when you read, you live inside someone else's head for hours, and slowly, subtly, your own head becomes less crowded, more suspicious. You start recognizing patterns, why people behave the way they do, why systems fails, why you repeat the same mistakes. Books didn't give me answers, they gave me better questions. I was able to articulate better. You know what, if this fucking thing is happening in my life, I should be able to ask some question. I need some answers. Was it my parents, was it me, or was it my boyfriend, was it somebody else? Like, who the fuck did this to me? I wanted better answers. I was not able to accept those because obviously you must have guessed it now that I was reading self-help books at that point of time. That was something I picked at that time, and the book that I picked was The Courage to Be Disliked. I mean, this is the best thing ever happened to me, guys, and it is written in at the back of that. A single book can change your life. If you can see, it will come inverted, but yeah, that's this is the book which changed my life and which changed me, and that made me really really loud, and it made me actually very an articulated person as well. There was a time when disappointment felt personal, failure felt final, rejection felt like a verdict on my worth. Books did not remove pain, but they gave it context. Suddenly, my struggles didn't feel unique, and strangely, they made them lighter. When you read, you realize that humans across centuries have felt exactly what you feel now: fear, ambition, loneliness, desire, shame, hope. Your suffering stops feeling like a flaw and starts feeling like a membership. Yes, you feel connected with so many people. You have Sylvia Plath talking about her father, and you're reading her poems, and it feels so connected that you know what, I feel the same emotion, but I never said it. And you're saying it for me, and that is so beautiful and so generous of these people, guys. So generous of these people. Also, let's be honest, books make you quietly superior in the most polite way. You don't announce it, you just understand things sooner. Yes, your intuition will start raising. You argue less, you listen more, you stop needing to win every conversation because you have already had better ones in your head. One of the biggest changes books brought into my life was emotional vocabulary. I could finally name what I felt. And once you name something, you stop being controlled by it. Before books, emotions were vague terms. After books, they became weather patterns, predictable, temporary, survival. Reading literary fiction in particular improved my empathy. This isn't poetic exaggeration. Researchers consistently shows that the reading fiction improves theory of mind, our ability to understand others' emotions and perspectives. Books literally train you to be less self-absorbed. This, which is inconvenient because ignorance is more comfortable. That is the reason we don't read books. But when you read books, you are starting to understand the character's point of view, and then you are able to understand the point of view of the people which are there in your own life. So books also taught me something dangerous, how power actually works. Now how it's advertised, how it operates quietly through language, narratives and belief system. Yes, political system will come really really clear to you. When you read history, you stop romanticizing authority. When you read philosophy, you stop outsourcing morality. Yes, guys, please read Socrates, please read Plato, and please read Aristotle. Those people are just amazing. And when you read psychology, you stop blaming people blindly, including yourself. Books don't make you rebellious, they make you unfooled. This is why some people dislike readers. Readers ask inconvenient questions. Yes, some people are gonna hate you because they will be like, "Oh my God, that particular person, she is always time reading, and then she will be coming with her own questions." I mean, what kind of person is that? I mean, some people start judging you, and that's cool. You know, that's cool. They don't clap on cue. They don't panic easily. They have seen how stories and they don't rush to worship the first hero who raised voice. Perhaps the most profound change book brought into my life was identity. Reading allowed me to outgrow version of myself without drama, without declaration, quietly. I did not announce growth. Growth happened while I was busy reading. Books let you try to snooze self safely. You become braver without risk, wiser without cost, kinder without performance, and slowly the version of you who once said, "I am not a reader," start to feel outdated. It will happen, guys. It will happen with you as well. You will feel that that you saying that I'm not a reader, and it is so not cool to be reading all the time. You will feel that. You will feel it in your bones that you know what Avilasha did say that, and she was right. Now I feel like that I want to read something good. I want to read something good. I want to read that passionate right kind of writing. I understand why people resist books. Reading feels like effort in a world addicted to ease. It feels slow in a culture obsessed with speed. It feels lonely in a time when we fear being alone with our thoughts. But resistance isn't dislike, resistance is fear wearing practicality. Fear of not understanding, fear of confronting yourself, fear of sitting still long enough for old thoughts to surface. Books don't distract you from your life, they introduce you to it. Yes, they will introduce you to life from a very different kind of a frame of reference. It will give you a frame of reference, it will make you sit on the moon, and it will make you look at your earth, and it will make you look that this is the speed that you're going at, Abhilasha. Do you want to slow down or do you want to speed faster than this? Because something or other is happening. I mean, I'm just telling you that's how books will start talking to you guys, and that's how the books are going to make you. The turning point came when I stopped treating reading like self improvement and started treating it like companionship. I stopped asking what should I read and start asking what do I need right now. Some days I needed escape, some days I needed explanations, some days I needed reassurance. Books met me where I was, and that's the secret no one tells you. There's a book for every mood, every season, every reason, every version of you. Let me repeat it. There is a book for every mood, every season, every version of you, and every reason, guys. Every reason. Reading changed how I spent my evenings, how I tolerated silence, how I handled conflict, how I handled success, and how I handled the failures. It made my inner life richer, which made my outer life calmer. I stopped rushing, I stopped proving, I stopped comparing so aggressively. Books didn't make life easier, they made me steadier. So when people ask me, did reading really change your life? I don't say yes dramatically. I say yes honestly. It's changed how I think, how I feel, how I choose, how I endure, how I hope. It made me feel to have faith, to have faith in people that there is somebody somewhere who must have written something that I am facing in this particular point of time. So that's what books does, because books don't arrive like motivational speaker banging on doors. They behave more like distant relatives who move in for a few days and slowly arrange your furniture, your habits, your worldview without asking. This the first thing books changed from was my relationship with noise. And I don't mean external noise, I mean the internal circles, the constant commentary, the self criticism, imaginary arguments, rehearsed conversation, and the irritating voice that wakes up at 2 a.m. to remind you of something embarrassing you did in 2016. The cringe that you face, oh my god, shit, I did that, really, I did that. And your mind is always circling with those irritating things that you did and the cringy things that you did. Books gave that noise competition, and surprisingly, the noise started losing. When you read consistently, your brain learns something radical. It does not need constant stimulation to survive, it learns to stay with one idea, one character, one problem long enough to see it evolve. This sounds basic, but in a world where attention is sliced into seconds, sustained focus is a superpower disguised as boredom. Books also made me less dramatic. Okay, I am dramatic, but I'm less dramatic now, which is unfortunate because drama is very entertaining. But reading exposes you to so many crises, wars, betrayal, moral dilemmas, existential despair, that you personally inconveniences start shrinking to their actual sizes. You still feel them, but they stop auditioning for tragedy of the year. There's also this uncomfortable side effecting of reading. You start noticing patterns in people, in system, in yourself. You realize how often history repeats because human repeats. You see how power uses the same tricks with different fonts. You begin to predict outcomes not because you are cynical, but because you have seen similar stories in the books. Books don't make you pessimistic, they make you prepared. And let's talk about emotional intelligence because nothing threatens adult egos more than being told what they might lack it. Reading fiction especially stretches your emotional range. You sit inside the mind of people you would never like in real life. You understand villains without excusing them. You empathize without agreeing. Over time, this does something very, very annoying. It makes you harder to manipulate emotionally. Yes, manipulation is not going to happen easily, guys. You are gonna feel that people who were able to manipulate you are just getting a little bit detached from you because they can see, okay, this person is now getting clever. Okay, so you stop reacting to provocation the way you used to. You pause, you observe, you choose. You pause, you observe, you choose. This is deeply inconvenient for people who thrive on your impulsive responses. All those people, all those dramatic people who were surviving on your drama will get, that feeling that, okay, now she is just not into me, or she is just not interested into my drama, or she is just not going to come into my traps anymore, my emotional traps or my emotional need. And me being needy all the time is not going to be like an attractive trait, at least for her or for him. That's not going to be attractive anymore. So that is going to happen, guys. That is going to happen, and that's my promise. That's Abhilasha Sharma's promise to you. Just read, just give it a chance. The funniest part is that none of this feels like growth while it's happening. It feels like entertainment. Yes, it will feel like entertainment. You will be flying all the time, which is exactly why it works. Your brain lowers its defenses when it thinks it's relaxing. Books also change how I speak, not in a pretentious quoting author's way, but in clarity. When you read good writing, you internalize structure. You learn how arguments are built, how ideas are layered, how emotions are expressed without shouting. Slowly, your own thoughts become less messy. You don't need more words, you need better ones because books give you that upgrade quietly. And somewhere along the way, I noticed something else. I was less lonely, which is ironic because reading is often considered a solitary activity. But books give you companions. Yes, guys, books are going to be your bestest friends who don't interrupt you, who don't judge you or ask you to explain yourself. They sit with you in silence and offer perspectives instead of advice. In a world obsessed with being seen, books offer something rare, and that is being understood. They are going to understand you. The moment you will open a book, especially the moment you will open The Courage to Be Disliked, and you will be reading the book and you will be like, oh my god, this book literally talks to me. She's talking to me. And that's going to be the feeling. We need to address the elephant in the room. If you still hate books, if that's your reason, guys, I have already told you my story. But if you still have this feeling that, you know what, I still hate books because books are just not for me, this passage is for you. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. We need to address the elephant in the room. The real reason many people avoid books isn't lack of time, interest, or intelligence. You are intelligent. It's avoidance. Books have an unsettling habit of holding mirrors, and not the flattering Instagram ones, the honest bathroom at 6 a.m. Books slow you down enough to notice what you have been doing. Old fears, unresolved questions, discomfort you have numbed with productivity or entertainment. Reading removes escape routes. Reading removes escape routes. That's why scrolling feels easier. Scrolling doesn't ask anything of you. Books ask participation. There's also identity problem. At some point, many people decide very confidently, I'm not a reader, and then build their personality around that statement. The brain loves consistency, so every time a book challenges that identity, resistance kicks in. It's not dislike, it's self protection. But here's the good news, identities are editable. Yes, guys, your identity is editable. So if you have been or had been a guy who always said that, you know what, I am somebody who doesn't like books, you can become somebody who will be saying, you know what, I love books. Books are for me. And that can happen, guys. That can happen. So, here's the good news, identities are editable. You don't need to become a reader. You just need to become someone curious enough to try again without judgment. Just be a little bit more curious. Reading is not a personality trait, it is a behavior, and behaviors change faster than we think when shame is removed from the equation. Another reason people resist books is school trauma. I know, schools, because books were once associated with exam pressure, comparison, and failure. No one taught us that reading could be selfish, that it could be done for pleasure, not performance, that you are allowed to abandon books halfway, skip pages, or reread the same paragraph just because it felt good. Once you remove the idea that reading must be impressive, it becomes intimate. So, yes, if you had a very bad experience in your schools, you can change those experiences because books are really good and you should read books. Now let's talk about laziness because pretending it doesn't exist is also lazy. Reading requires effort upfront. There's no instant dopamine hit. Here's the twist. Once you cross the initial resistance, reading becomes easier than most things. It demands attention, not energy, and attention. Once trained becomes restful. Picking the right books matters more than people admit. Choosing a book is like choosing a movie. You don't start with something critically acclaimed but emotionally inaccessible. You start with something that flows, something that pulls you in, and something that matches with the mood and the result you are seeking. Want escape? Go imaginative. Want catharsis? Go emotional. Want adrenaline rush? Go for thrillers. Reading taste develops the same way palate does, gradually through exposure, not force. And you read more, something fascinating happens. Your brain starts craving. Studies in neuroscience shows that reading strengthens neural pathways associated with imagination, empathy, and memory. Narrative activates reward circuits. Over time, your brain recognizes reading as nourishment, not efforts. That's when reading stops feeling like discipline and starts feeling like relief. And finally, how do you retain what you read without turning it into homework? You engage with it like a human, not like a machine. You write in books, you underline, you scribble reactions. Research in learning science consistently shows that active engagement, annotating, paraphrasing, rewriting dramatically improves memory and understanding. Don't worry about books getting messy. A clean book is an unread one. Your notes turn your books into conversation that you can always revisit. So now we have covered why books matters, why you resist them, what to read, how to read, which leaves us with one simple truth. Reading is not hard. Starting is obviously everything to start is hard, but it is not hard to read. And starting doesn't require a life overhaul. It requires one honest choice. Pick one book, not to improve yourself, not to impress anyone, just to spend time with a better version of your mind. So, guys, if you have stayed with me this long, maybe you are not someone who hates books. Now you are not. Because we are 26 minutes in this video and you have been hearing me out. So, I think now I have made my case, and now you must be in. At least you are curious enough to pick a book. And if you want to pick a book, this is the book I really, no matter who you are, this is a book you should go for. The book name is The Courage to be Disliked. Can you see it? Yeah, that's the book, guys. That's the book. Pick this one. No matter who you are, just pick this one. If you have stayed with me this long, maybe you are not someone who hates book. Maybe you are someone who just hasn't met the right one yet. So here's my invitation, not a challenge, not a resolution, just pick one book. This 2026, pick one book. One that feels easy, one that feels inviting, one that doesn't judge you. Read a few pages, stop if you want, continue if you feel pulled. If this video made you feel curious, please like it, guys. Please like and please subscribe to my channel. If it reminds you of someone who needs book but doesn't know it yet, share it. Subscribe if you want more conversation like this, and comment below what book you will be reading this, because sometimes the smallest habit opens the biggest door. And because sometimes the quietest habits realize the loudest life. So I think I should rest my case here. And this has been great, guys. I have been loud as usual. And we're gonna talk about lot more, and we gonna shift to psychological topics very soon and philosophy very soon. My next topic will be on something. Let me see. I actually wrote a lot more topics that I was thinking to do, and I'm thinking to do one video on the hour 5 hour rule or deep work, or how to actually achieve your goals in 2026. So these are my three takes that I'm thinking to do my next video on. And how to get your shit together is another video that I'm thinking of. And just let me know what you think. And if you want me to do another book review, please let me know the name of the book and I will do it. And this is Abhilasha Sharma signing out, guys. And XOXO. I love you a lot. See ya.